now coming to the factor of the cost of education, which is one of the key concerns for the parents. How do you see, there's a myth among parents that the Central University or the education outside the state is very costly. So how do you see that? How does the cost compare?
When you talk about education outside the state, cost must be broken into two compartments. One is cost incurred by education per se in terms of fees. The other is education incurred by residence requirements. The two are different. Now, when it comes to the cost on account of various fees, tuition fee is very limited. In fact, it's laughably low in any education. I mean, other than professional colleges. For example, the tuition fee that a student at St. Stephen's College pays in 2022 is 50 rupees a month, which is laughably low. And the richest are getting educated there. I mean, because I've opened the door for the poor also. So that's not but there are expenses incurred on account of, say, things like library, laboratory, maintenance, electricity, all kinds of things. These ancillary items in the statement of fees. So, for example, if you look at the college fees that a student pays annually to St. Stephen's College, it is in the vicinity of 25,000 rupees. Which is about 2,000 rupees, a little over 2,000 rupees per month, which cannot be high. I'm talking about all fees put together. Of this 25,000 rupees per annum, the tuition fee component is about 600 rupees
per annum, yeah.
Okay, the rest are all ancillary expenditures. When you talk about the expenses in the other category, namely residence requirement, right? Depends on what kind of residence facilities you want. If you're lucky to get into a hostel run by a college, in St. Stephen's College we don't use the word hostel, we call it residence. Then it is a lot cheaper. So a resident student would spend about maybe 70,000, all told. Whereas if you're staying outside the college in what's called paying guest accommodation or privately run hostel facilities, then you could be paying much more. At any rate, this is certainly affordable to a middle class family in Kerala. I mean, we spend a lot of money on vanity items.
Yeah.
I mean, I find, for example, people in Kerala using very expensive cars. I see no reason why it should be so. I see people investing a lot in building big houses. I mean, it's uneconomical, it's unviable, it's foolish actually. Why can't you cut down on these items of vanity and invest in the only sector that makes sense long term, which is the education of your children?
Yeah.
Now, people begin to grumble only when it comes to paying to Indian institutions. The very same parents, if they send their children to institutions outside the country, they very gladly pay 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs per annum. Yeah. They will never complain about it. You understand? So I don't think it is the economic factor, the cost factor. It is a psychology, the psychology of having to pay a little more to an Indian institution, etc. But while saying this, we also have to remember the fact that there are millions of homes in this country where paying this kind of money is not viable.
Yeah.
And the government has to think of them. Unfortunately, the government is progressively withdrawing from most socially beneficial sectors, particularly education. And this is, I believe, a great sign of irresponsibility and disservice to the nation. On the one hand, even education cess is collected which is not spent. There must be a white paper on how much money has accumulated in the Ministry of Human Resource Development, which is now renamed as Ministry of Education. They keep changing the names of the ministries as though they are doing a great service to the country, which is it is silly. Okay, now let's say Ministry of Education. So I think 1.5 lakh crores of rupees is accumulated in the Ministry of Education. Why can't that be spent? Why can't that money be used to facilitate the higher education of children coming from poor homes.
Yeah.
So the government should offer thousands and tens and thousands of scholarships. Now let me say this about a small college like St. Stephen's College. I took over the college in 2007. I created an admission policy which is sensitive to social justice, which meant that a large number of students who genuinely could not pay for their education in St. Stephen's College were admitted. Children of, say, class 4 employees, children of gatekeepers, children of bus drivers, children of clerks, peons, etc. I made sure that not one of them suffered because they didn't have the paying capacity. I created large numbers of scholarships and facilitated their education. I gave free education to every physically disabled individual. And I gave them priority residence accommodation on campus because I didn't want them to struggle against any handicap. It's possible to do all of this.
Yeah.
An institution with hardly any income can do this. The government did not support this enterprise of mine to the tune of 1 rupee. 1 rupee. All was done finding the resources from within the institution, which meant that we had to tighten our belt and do it. So the point is, if there is a will to educate the poor, the social underclass, it's possible to do it. My experiment in St. Stephen's was how to provide quality education to the poorest of the poor. I faced a lot of difficulties in the process because the elite, who are predatory in their demand, that the best be reserved only for them. They hounded me through my 9 years of principalship. But I was able to stick to my ground, was able to keep the road of the college open to the poor and the underprivileged and give them the best opportunities. It's possible to do it. And that's what a government which actually is sincere in saying that there is a demographic dividend to be reaped will be doing. And I look forward to such measures to be initiated by the Prime Minister Modi. And I'm fairly certain that he would do it.